Hello and welcome to Biology Career Insights, the podcast where we talk with experts from the field of biology to gain valuable insights into the careers and explore ways to navigate the job market in this ever-evolving field. I'm your host, Dr. Manish Kumar. Today, we have a remarkable guest, Dr. Phillip Baaske, the co-founder and CEO of NanoTemper. He's a visionary leader in the biotech world, dedicated to revolutionizing disease treatment through biophysical and artificial intelligence-based tools. Despite humble beginnings in a Bavarian village, Philip's journey led to him to found NanoTemper, a global biotech company. His passions include developing cutting-edge tools for diseases like cancer and Alzheimer's, promoting global innovation and championing democracy and equality. Philip's zest for life extends to his love for people, learning, and the beauty of life's detail. He enjoys running, swimming, soccer, and science fiction, and he's even learning to surf. Academically, Philip earned his diploma in biophysics from the University of Beirut in 2005, setting the stage for his remarkable career. In 2008, he co-founded NanoTemper Technologies GmbH alongside Stefan Dorr, a company that has since made waves in the biotech world. Philip continued to shine academically, receiving his doctorate in biophysics from the Ludwig-Maximilian University in Munich in 2010. His accolades include being named one of Germany's top talents under 40, receiving prestigious awards, and earning his doctorate in biophysics. We're truly honored to have Dr. Baaske on our podcast today. Welcome to the BCI Podcast, Philip, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you too, Manish. And I'm very happy to be here with you, and I'm looking forward to our conversation.
Amazing. So let's dive in straight away. What inspired you to be a scientist and entrepreneur, and how did you get started in the field?
It's a very, let's say, personal inspiration. So my mother had breast cancer. Also, my youngest uncle died because of breast cancer. One of my good friends died very young with cancer. So as my family suffers so strongly from cancer, I am very afraid of cancer. But the other thing is also, I don't want to be a victim of the fate. And the one thing is, my mother has been saved by a drug. It's called trastuzumab herceptin. It's a monoclonal antibody, so it's a biotech drug developed by Roche. And this inspired me to enter the biotech field, the biophysics field. And one thinking was, okay, I want to do something. I don't want to be a victim of fate. What can I do? Can I develop an own drug? And you all know how difficult it is to develop a drug.
Absolutely.
If you're very, very lucky, you can develop one single drug in your whole lifetime. So I was thinking, what can I do? And then I came to the idea about tools for scientists. How about helping scientists, a lot of scientists, to develop drugs? And so that's what we do now. We have now more than 20,000 scientists using our tools to develop drugs, also drugs against cancer, but also against diseases like Alzheimer. And I think this is really a big leverage. So we really have an impact as we have 20,000 scientists to be rock stars, to be heroes, and to develop new drugs. So I hope we develop them quick enough for me.
Amazing. So you were driven by, a personal purpose, right? So you encountered such, accidents, in your family, and then that inspired you. That's that is a purpose-driven life. So tell us more about your educational background, and also tell when was the switch? When you got interested in pursuing biology as a career? When was that? Yeah.
Even as a kid, I was always interested in biology, in animals. I grew up on a farm. So there was in a small village on the countryside in Bavaria. So there was always nature around me. Mm-hmm. The thing was, my teachers in school, the biology and chemistry teachers, they were really bad. So at least not my way of learning. But in physics and math, I had good teachers and some talent for math and physics. And because of this, I ended physics because it was just my talent. But I always have had an interest and still have an interest in nature and biology. So it comes from very, very early times.
Wow. So, I mean, when you say completed your Abitur, that's, the +2 in Germany, you had a choice to study many subjects. Why did you choose, say, biophysics?
In the very beginning, I didn't choose physics. So indeed, I started my studies in 2000. There was this IT boom. So I, as my parents had no idea, and also me not, what can you do with physics? Will there be a job? I mean, I came from a blue-collar family, so you need a job.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And if your mother works in a kindergarten, you can't imagine what you do with physics. Maybe become a teacher. So I started to study software development, IT. And during the studies, when I had my first lecture on physics at university, I said, no, it's IT, software development, it's not my way. The 0 and 1s are fine, but I'm much more interested in nature. And then I quit studying software development, studying informatics, and joined physics. And there was no biophysics at this time at University of Bayreuth. It was called technical physics, also close to engineering. You can find a job. Engineers get a job, very important at this time. But then two new professors joined the university, and there was the opportunity to do something new, to study this new thing called biophysics, very new at this time in Germany. So I said, okay, I am interested in biology. It's still close to engineering. Let's go for biophysics.
Wow. So that's an interesting story. And tell us, Philip, while studying, when did you think about entrepreneurship, or when did that entrepreneurship bug bite you? Like, when did you think about starting something of your own?
I think I've always been an entrepreneur. I always have this thinking in my mind, what can I do with something? And somehow I think entrepreneurship is a lot of taking opportunities. And after my diploma thesis, I had the opportunity to join a lab in Göttingen, or a lab in Munich. The lab in Munich was Dieter Braun, young scientist, and topic was origin of life.
Wow.
Very philosophic questions. So I said, okay, well, origin of life, that's super cool. Let's do it. The other option was in Göttingen was Stefan Hell. And I hadn't picked Stefan Hell. He later got the Nobel Prize for stat microscopy.
Yeah.
And never asked me for any career advice. I have strange choices, but for me, origin of life was just more interesting than setting up a stat microscope. But in Munich, it's a chair of Hermann Gaub, where Dieter Braun's group was. There were a lot of startups. There was also nanotechnology and EBT and AutoCube. And so we had some kind of startup entrepreneurial spirit at this university. And so somehow I got into this community, into this network. And then my mother got cancer in 2006. And then my whole thing into this direction was triggered during my PhD.
And it's here that you met Stefan Durr. So tell us about that story. Tell us the beginning of NanoTemper. How did it all happen? Yeah,
It was also some kind of strange, or at least funny. So Stefan and me worked in the same lab, in the same group. But our supervisor was really about everyone should work on his own project, no teamwork, because to maximize the output, applications with at its best only 2 authors. So we had separate projects. Stefan, being a biochemist, worked on a physical topic. I'm coming from physics, worked on a biochemical topic.
Wow.
And since there was this one day where the whole chair was skiing in the Alps, in the mountains, all the people in the lab, in the whole building went for skiing with the professors. And then, but Steph and me, we stayed in the lab and there we did our own project. And we did a whole day, maybe 20 hours of measurements. And then from this 20 hours, we had our first publication together. And so that's how we started to work together. Our professor was not so happy about it because, teamwork, only one publication for 3 people, Stefan, me, and him. But this is how we started to work together, and then we kept on working.
Wow. And so you never knew Stefan before the lab, right? Like it was at the at the lab that you first met him, and then that's how it happened.
Yep.
Wow. So that's great. So when you discover something, or when you kind of have a publication in the university also takes a lot of not only pride but equity from that research. So how did you go about starting NanoTemper? Tell us, how it all evolved. Yeah.
We had this opportunity to join from the entrepreneurial center of the university. There were some students who had a course on how to write a business plan. And at this time, we both were aware of that we are not good scientists. We don't want to stay in science. We want to do something else. And we thought it's a good opportunity to write a patent to show that we can do some technical stuff. So I wrote an email to my network saying, okay, I want to write a patent. Has someone of you experience in it? And then I got an email back from Lars. He told me, no, I don't have any experience with this patent, but I'm taking care of some economic students writing a business plan. Do I want to join our business plan sessions? I said, oh, wow, business plan is even better than just a patent. So we did it. And then we used the business plan we wrote to go to the Munich business plan competition. And we made 3rd place. And then we got a lot of good feedback, especially from a guy from Roche, who told us there might be potential in what we described about our one-day measurement technologies we did while the others were skiing. And this is how the whole thing started.
Wow. So for the audience, I must say that, NanoTemper is bootstrapped company, and we all know that. And Philip, that, and you come from a very humble background, and I assume Stefan too. So, how did you go about raising capitals? Please enlighten us, because, if neither of you are very rich, how did the capital came?
Yeah, it didn't came. So we tried to get it, but it was in 2008, and there was this financial crisis after Lehman Brothers failed.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we were walking around, going also to venture capital, but they didn't want to give us any money. I think we explained our technology not good enough. We just tried them all, and no one said yes.
But it's also, I think, Philip, it's also about the timing in the venture world, right? Like, because especially if it's 2008, crisis happening, nobody, it's a cycle, right? So, yeah. So, go ahead, yeah.
But this was really good luck that we didn't get any venture capital money. So what we did is we wrote a governmental grant application for some very scientific basic stuff to develop our product. So we got it more or less granted. Only one thing missing. We needed our own financial measures to counterfinance it. So we had to find it. We had a deadline in autumn 2008. There was a deadline running. So we had to find a lot of money for it to counterfinance this governmental grant. And somehow it was difficult to find. It was not a lot of money, but we didn't have it. So family was not rich, and it was far too much for us. And then this also, we just put ourselves into places where we could meet people. And there was a thing, it's the Deutsche Museum in Munich, big technical museum. And there was it was called Nano Days, where scientists were allowed to show the setup. We showed a setup, and then Volker Hofmann came by. He's a self-made entrepreneur from the German Wirtschaftswunder. He was selling cigarettes and then building his own real estate empire in Munich. And he stopped by and he was very interested in biotech because one of his sons has diabetes.
Oh.
And then he invested in us. It was the counter financing of the grant. It was not to the last minute, but to the last day.
Wow.
And since we got this money, and this is the own money we got and we needed. And we paid his stocks back in 2020 during the pandemic because it was already 80s there. And now Stefan and me fully owns the business.
Amazing. So that's also like a bit of a luck, right? So you kind of met the right person at the very right time, because you said it's the last day, right? So wow,
Yeah.
that is so amazing. So for the audience also now tell us about NanoTemper, what NanoTemper does and what was the idea, please tell us about the technology. Yeah.
And what we do is we make the invisible visible and we make it visible to drugs the undruggable. And I think all of you know aspirin, the drug against the headache, especially after a good party at university. And this is a chemical drug. And chemical drug, with cancers, with chemotherapies, with chemical drugs, there's also side effects. They're not good enough anymore. We need some new things. And these chemical drugs are very simple. I mean, aspirin, it's a small molecule. There's the complexity of a bike. Mm-hmm. When you look at these new antibody drugs, these biologics, they're much more complex. If aspirin is a bike, an antibody is something like an airplane, like a jumbo set. Really high complexity, but still very, very small, only a few nanometers. So you can't see it, even not with a microscope, but you have to understand it. Absolutely. You have to measure the interactions, you have to measure the 3D structure, its folding, its aggregation, all these things, but you are not allowed to touch it. You can't see it, it's below the diffraction limit of light. So you have to make the invisible visible to somehow be able to develop something to improve it. And so this is what we do. We shoot photons on the sample with a drug and get changes in fluorescence signal, in static scattering, in dynamic light scattering, in absorption, in back reflection, and all these things, very abstract things. And then we do a lot of, let's call it magic. You can also call it data science. We process this data, we do the right positive and negative experiments for it, and then we have an outcome.
Wow.
And our thing is, so it sounds impossible and it sounds difficult, and I think you all know this biophysical setups, a lot of buttons, you can't understand it. And our thing is to make it usable. So it's a very robust instrument that's plug and play. And this is all of our idea. I said in the beginning what motivated me is that I want to help scientists to develop drugs. And this is what our instrument should help, to spend all your time in developing drugs. For example, if you say we have a usability is good, and we improve it so that a scientist saves 1 hour per week. And you have 15 weeks a year, you save 1 hour per week, and we have 20,000 scientists using our instruments already, so we save 1 million hours.
Wow. So that's like
improving the usability by 1 hour. So it's huge.
Huge. Absolutely. Wow. So you said it's like, it's already used by 20,000 scientists, say, across the world. So how was, tell us the challenges of scaling up the company, because I understand that, starting a company is one thing and scaling up the company is another. So how did you go about it?
We try to get a lot of advice. So we try to find people, other entrepreneurs, other founders who have been through the same stages of scaling up the company to learn from them. And then also, they're also very strong people. And I can remember once there was a very famous German serial entrepreneur, founded very big German biotech companies, and we asked him for advice. And it was in the very beginning, and he was willing to meet with us.
Wow.
He was already rich, So we met in an expensive hotel in Munich, Hotel der 4 Jahreszeiten.
Okay.
And he was sitting in front of a fireplace there on a chair, really literally a little bit elevated one. And he was listening to what we say, and so he told us, "You will fail."
Oh my God. Yeah.
And we said, "Oh wow, this entrepreneur, he was more or less the Elon Musk of German biotech,
Wow.
told us you will fail." And he told us you will fail because what you try, I already tried and I failed.
Yeah.
But we were so convinced that it will work that we've moved on. And I think this is one advice I can give. Listen to everyone, but do your own thing.
That's a great advice, Philip. And I mean, that needs another level of conviction in your idea, because somebody who is so successful, somebody who has tried that idea, if he advises you and says that, you will fail, that's so disheartening, And I'm like so inspired by you that, kind of in spite of all these odds, you and Stefan, you both like stick to your plans and then, made NanoTemper a global company. So tell us more about these stories, your challenges and, your success stories. Tell us more about these incidents. Yeah,
So what we do is we make the invisible visible. So it's kind of it's impossible. So you have show people that it works. And when you're a young student, you have no proof. So you somehow have to build trust. So you have to demonstrate your setups, what you do, your technology to others. And it's really all about trust, because if you are the only one who can do something, there are no other methods to prove it.
absolutely.
So it's all about building trust. And what we had was also our first customer was, I think it was customer 30 or try 31. We tried 30 times. We failed 30 times. And when we tried the 31st time, this company told us, well, we have here, it has been kinases.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you measure these, it was 4 or 5 more molecules. We have their X-ray, we have the 3D structure, we know what they do. If you can measure those and get the right results, we will buy your device. And I can remember when we measured it was in 2009, 23rd December 2009. We really measured hard because next day is Christmas in Bavaria. So we wanted to go out of the lab and visit our parents. So we really worked hard. We got results. We sent it to them. We went for Christmas. And after Christmas, they told us your results were good. We buy your device.
Wow. And this was, just to interrupt, Philip, this was when NanoTemper was really small, like you had no employees, or was it already like you had some employees?
We were 6 people.
6 people. So very, very small.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That's that's inspiring. So that gave you a boost.
Yeah.
Okay. And when was that, tell us about the scale up journey. So then, yeah, you had one success and then how it happened. Yeah.
Now we proved what we did on an experimental setup. We didn't have the product we sold yet. So we got some money from this company from Greylocks, and from this money we bought the parts of the product. Wow. Then we built the product with this, we delivered it, we installed it, we got the rest of the money, and with this money we bought the parts for the next 2 devices.
So this is like really profitable. Wow, this is like you get. So the company was profitable from day one.
Yeah.
Oh wow. So unlike the companies that is being built up now, right? Like, because I heard you have to make huge amount of losses to be profitable one day. Unlike, okay, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah.
It was the old days. There was not so much money around. Mm-hmm. I think this is a typical, also German way to start small, to move forward in small steps from device to device, be profitable from the very beginning. You really take care of the money, keep the costs under control, don't spend the money, live in very low conditions, and then put everything you have, all your energy, all your money, everything into your company to grow it.
Wow.
I think that's the spirit.
Mhm. That is really, really words of wisdom. So, to the broader scientific community, if you have to explain what NanoTemper does to somebody who has never worked in, say, the biophysical arena, or say does not make biologics, then how would you go and explain about it?
One thing is let's say you want to find a new drug. Let's say a drug against the growth factor in cancer. So you have this growth factor and you want to block it. Then we have, let's say, several substances where you think it could be a drug.
Yeah, so you
have to test them against this growth factor. So they have to block it. And you already see that if you want to block it, you have to get in touch with it.
Absolutely.
Measure if these drug candidates get in touch with it, and if yes, which concentration, which doses you need. If you then have found this drug candidate, a promising one, I already told you it's very complex.
Absolutely. Yeah.
It only works when it has this certain 3D structures like a fancy origami. And then we use different technologies to prove that it keeps the structure, that it has the one good structure. And we also then here help the scientists to find an optimal formulation. I mean, it helps you nothing if this drug only works if you can freeze it the whole time in your minus 80-degree freezer. You also have to get it to the patient. So you have to find ways to stabilize it so that you can transport it, so the doctor can transport it under room temperature condition to the patient and apply it through a needle. So we have to stabilize it. And this is also what we do. So we have different products in different parts of the value chain in the drug development. And this is also what discriminates us from other startups. We are not limited to our own technology we started with. It's really about helping scientists. So we have a lot of technologies now, and we really try to understand what will help the scientists to develop new drugs, better drugs, quicker. And in this, we try to combine in the product, which is very robust. Because, I mean, you have to work with it. So the device has to work always the whole time. And so this is where we put a lot of energy in.
Absolutely. Wow. No. So, now that, your company is so successful and it is already, a global company, looking back, Philip, if you see, what were the major challenges that you faced in your journey?
That's mostly a personal thing. Your company is growing. And you, as a leader, you have to adapt. In the beginning, it was only Stefan and me. And it was Stefan and me and our first employees in one single room, where you get to know everything. You know everyone very well. So you everyone talking. And then you are in different rooms. So you have to think about communication. And then you are in different cities. Then you're in different cities and different time zones with different cultures. We now have more than 33 cultures in our company.
Wow.
And we all have to understand each other. And you go through different phases and you always have to adapt. So it could be that the growth speed of the company is quicker than your own speed. Then you need coaches, mentors, you have to adapt. Could also be the other way around, that your growth speed is quicker than the speed of your company. So you get friction with your people, and you also have to adapt. You always realize it when the friction increases. Everything is smooth and went well, then you grow, and then frictions are coming in. And this something you have to change.
Absolutely. So that is one. I mean, growth is a challenge, but in a pleasant way, right? You, of course, as a parent of the company, you want it to grow. Of course, you can adapt, and there will be these growth challenges. But what were did you have to face some setbacks in the journey? Why I want to ask you, because I know the entrepreneurial journey is never easy, and you have to have a lot of perseverance. You showed that in the earlier days, but also in your good days, when the company was growing. what were the setbacks or major challenges that you can remember now?
I think as an entrepreneur, you fail quite often. You fail most of the time. You're just good in standing up. So big thing was in 2019 where we hired too many people too quick. Then the revenue was not coming, so we had to let go people.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also, I think it was in August 2019. I still in the company, I think they still call it the Black Day or so. We had to let go 19 people, which was a lot at this time. And the thing was, okay, we let go everyone at just 1 or 2 days, so that the rest can be sure that this firing period is over. Otherwise, people are afraid. And this is the thing, I mean, everyone can hire, but the tough decisions, the good decisions, is when you really make the hard ones, like let go people.
Yeah.
You always pay a high price for it. It was 2 months of sleepless nights, thinking, okay, who should go? We had to let a lot of people go, but it was our people's. We had a long journey with them, but we have to protect the company, our baby. It's really about letting go 19 to protect 150. And these are really, really hard decisions.
But one has to make those decisions, right?
Yeah, you have.
Wow. So yeah, I can just imagine, you're a very empathetic person, and if you have to let go your own people, it can be very challenging. Absolutely. So, of course, you will have all these challenges, and how do you overcome these challenges? And what would be, say, your advice to other entrepreneurs? You have to deal with challenges.
The one thing is you do a decision, and until you see a result, it takes a long time. So it's tough because you don't get direct, timely feedback. So when you get some feedback, what I do is I go to the customers, I visit the customers, and I talk with them and I watch how they use our devices. And when I see that they have bright eyes, the lights fire in their eyes using our instrument, I know we do something right. And this is where I'm getting the energy from. It's from our customers when I see that our devices are not just standing around and no one uses them. No, they are used. And that they also give me honest feedback how we can improve it. Because if they give you advice how to improve it, it really means they care. They would not give you advice how to improve it if they don't want to use it. Mm-hmm. So it's really going out to the customer and really see and experience what your products do for them. It's a really generate value for them and helps them.
Wow. No, that's a very good advice. And moving forward, Philip, so what are the, say, key skills and qualities that makes a successful entrepreneur? From your journey, can you highlight those skills and, say, qualities?
See, over time, you develop a good and healthy gut feeling, because you have to be aware that you are in your brain only around 10 to 20% of information you have were really aware of. So the rest is somehow processed in a not so explicit way. So you can really trust your gut's feeling. You have to be honest, and you have to walk the talk. People have to trust you. And the thing is really, if you're alone, you can't do a lot. It's the other people who are your leverage. So it's really about hiring people who are better than you. And this sounds very easy. You read a lot of quotes about it. But if you work at something and then you hire someone who is much better than you, and you see how much better he does the thing and how much quicker she is, it's hard to see. And some people have problems working together with people who are better because they're afraid of them.
Yeah, they have their own insecurities, or you have to kill your ego and stuff like that. So that's more difficult to practice than to, as you said about the quotes. Yeah, reading quotes is fine, but practicing it is a challenge. Yeah.
So it is always and every time.
Wow. And any other qualities that, like perseverance, for example, that you have showcased yourself. So any other things that you would say um, is a must in an entrepreneur, according to you?
I would say a good listener. You have to get a lot of advice,
Mm-hmm.
but somehow, and you get a lot of advice which puts you in a different direction. So you have to listen to everyone, but stay with your own course, and you have to take risks. I mean, when you come with a technology, in our case from university, you come with technology, not with products. And the technology gives you 1,000 possibilities what you can do,
Absolutely.
but you can't do them all at once. So you have to take the risk not to do 999 things, but focus only on one. And this is where a lot of people struggle. They don't take the risk to just do one thing. And by not taking the risk, they risk everything.
Absolutely. So prioritizing, and that narrowing down of this is so important. Yeah, absolutely. Great. So tell us, Philip, about, the most exciting developments in your field right now, and how do you see the future of biotech, especially in the, German context or the European context? Yeah.
I'm very excited about, still very excited about the mRNA technology. So proved so valuable during the pandemic. I mean, what we can do now is we can code live. It's really about bringing a code into a cell and code for a protein, and the cell builds the protein you coded for.
Wow.
And this will be, for me, it's a singularity. It's really a start of a new thing. I mean, you can do now, you have to solve the drug delivery problem. It's all about having something like a vector, a transportation vehicle, where you can put in mRNA or DNA, whatever, has something on its outside, maybe an antibody to target a certain cell. And then you can really, it's about engineering life. So it's, I mean, we read and hear a lot about AI, but AI will be a tool for biotech. And we can really, we will see great things in the future when we really understand that and make it scalable with engineering tools. We will have a tool set of biotech tools we can put together and really engineer things, because we will absolutely understand what we do. So I think everyone who is young now, the next 30 years, I see a golden age of biotech coming.
Amazing. And you see AI playing a major role in the future of biotech, right?
Yeah, it's a tool like this information. We should just use it for us, not be big fanboys or whatever, or only do AI. It's a tool.
Yes.
And code of life is the processing of information. And AI will help us to do so. I mean, you see this AlphaFold from DeepMind is already a cool thing. We can predict structures, and this allows you to measure it quicker and to develop drugs quicker. So we will see a lot more of these tools for scientists to focus on their creativity. You don't have to do boring things. The AI can do it for you. You can really focus on creativity and develop the cool drugs.
So you're mentioning about, the future of biotech being, golden and stuff like that. And I'm really excited about it. However, when I see the entrepreneurial ecosystem and compare it with the US, North American entrepreneurial ecosystem, I think we are much more lagging behind here, right, in Europe, because I think in North America, it's already matured, the funding is easy to get, and the ecosystem is more mature. So what is your advice to improve, say, the startup or the, the entrepreneur ecosystem in, say, Germany and in Europe?
Or let's say money is more or less digital now, so it means it can move.
Absolutely.
What we see money from the USA moving to Europe, because money is looking for good ideas. There's much more money than good ideas, so ideas are limiting. So you just have to put yourself in a situation where the money can find you, and you have to be aware of the different culture of US style venture capital. but they are looking for you. They are looking for the good ideas for the entrepreneurs. And we are a global world, will even be bigger. So with all the Asian countries coming in and also Africa. And capital can move, and it will move. And you can stay where you are. You can also visit the USA, and it will find you and it will invest in you.
And yeah, that kind of, makes me ask you another question. So what should an entrepreneur do? Because most of the entrepreneurs that I talk to, they were always limited by, the capital raising is a big challenge for them, raising capital. So what would be your advice to these entrepreneurs? How to find good investors?
You have to be really aware of what you want, and tell them, make a plan and tell them what you want. Because they don't understand your business, or your technical business. They are also, it's called venture capital, but they are somewhat still afraid of risks. So you have to de-risk it for them. So you have to give them the feelings that you really do understand what you do, and make it simple for them. They don't understand such scientific things. You really have to tell them, okay, this is what I can do. This is what I will do with your money. And this is what I can get back. And I know what I do. And I can also explain it to you in simple words. I can also excite you with my storytelling. And you also have to excite them, because they have to believe you. They have to trust you. And if they don't understand your scientific details, they will not invest, because they are afraid, because they don't understand you. So you have to learn to adapt to them. If you need some money, you have to adapt to what they can understand.
Absolutely. And you said the right thing, that you have to de-risk it for them, right? Although they are venture capitalists, but they are not like taking so much risk, right? So,
yeah. Exactly.
Wow. So, another question, similar to this line. So what advice would you give to, say, young biology students, who are considering, say, a career in biotech entrepreneurship? And what are the most important things that they should keep in mind as they pursue this path?
And if you're a student, you're young, you're dynamic, you can just do it. And one thing is, you have to move out from the scientific and development mindset. It's all about product and selling. If you found a company, it's about earning money. So I have 3 advices for you. The first one is sell, the second one is sell, and third one is sell.
Wow.
It's all about, stop to develop, go out, make a product, and sell it.
Wow, that's great advice. Sell, and sell. Wow.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's amazing, Philip. So, now that you are successful, your company is a global company now. So I would ask you, so do you also invest in startups? And if yes, so for starting purposes, for investing purposes, what are the key criteria that you evaluate the incoming ideas on? And is there any specific advice, again, in this direction that you'd give to, people approaching you?
Yes, I invest as a business angel in one area. So I have defined 2 areas. One is tools for drug development, and so I invest in optogenetics, because as you said, I love science fiction. And controlling biological systems with light is just science fiction for me, and I'm very interested in it. And the other one is, I also invest into antibiotics, because I think we will get big problems in the future with also the resistance against antibiotics. For example, invest in a company in Vitris, they do bacteriophages against bacteria as an alternative to penicillin and the like. And I always look at the team, if they have a good team spirit, if they can. I mean, we talked about it. It's a really hard journey as an entrepreneur, and there will be tough times, there will be problems, and there will be fights inside the team, because it's tough decisions.
Absolutely.
So they have to have mechanisms in the team to deal with conflicts, because there will be conflicts. And if the first conflict kills the team, the company is dead and the money is gone. So this is what I look at.
So good team. And, like how one can approach you, Philip, how can one approach you? And is there like a business plan that you evaluate, or how do you, screen? Because you would receive many inquiries, as a
Yep.
investor. So how do you screen? Yeah.
I look at the technologies they have. I look at how far they are with the product. I look if they understand that selling, making money is the important thing as an entrepreneur,
Mm-hmm.
or if they're at least willing to listen to some advices. Also, the thing is, are they willing to listen, or do they just move through the world like with closed eyes? So they have to be good listeners. And for the business plan, I've wrote enough by myself. I know how you make the numbers, so don't look at the business plans. It's more about technology, product, and then I talk directly with the people.
Wow.
And it's mostly in areas where I know the market.
Yeah, like you are restricted to, say the antibiotic and these tools sector. But you might be open to good ideas, say in any biotech, right? Great. And how can one reach? So people seeing this, and young entrepreneurs, who would like to kind of get in touch with, say, Philip, how they can get in touch with you?
That's the easiest thing is via LinkedIn. Just write me a PM via LinkedIn, and I will read it.
And I will put the LinkedIn profile link on the podcast so that they can reach out to you.
Very good.
Yeah. So Philip, also tell us about your hobbies. So when you do not do science, what else do you do?
I like to travel around and to meet people.
Yeah.
I also go to a lot of sport like running, swimming, biking, badminton, soccer.
Wow.
Also during my lunch breaks, I like to run and do some sports to put myself into a good spirit. Because when you have to do the tough decisions, you have to be fit to do them.
Absolutely.
So it's about putting yourself in a state where you are fit enough and has the right mindset and spirit to do this hard decision. And sports, especially at the outset, I love to be in the nature, to be in the mountains. Even more, I love to be at the beach where I have an open space. You walk there, you run there, you do sports there, and you have this open space. The summer opens my mind for the big ideas.
Wow. That's amazing. And one question that I've been lately asking many biotech entrepreneurs, they all are, of course, anti-aging enthusiasts. They want to, say, be fit for, increase their health span. So, and many of these people, they take some supplements and stuff like that. So just asking for my own curiosity, do you take any supplements?
Except red wine and beer.
Yeah.
Well, I love to have French and Italian food. I love to enjoy life, and for me, it's more about relaxing with my loved ones, having a good time. So it's my way of dealing with it, and sitting in the evenings there with a good wine.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool life for me.
So you don't take any external other supplements that many people these days are taking, right? That's amazing to hear. Wow. So yeah, Philip, thank you so much for your time. It was such a pleasure to have your insights with us today. And yeah, I'll have to respect. I could go on and on, but I have to respect your time. I have to respect your time. And to the audience, thank you for tuning to Biology Career Insights. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast to get the latest episode delivered straight to your device. See you next time. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye, Philip. Bye. Thank you so much. Bye.
You're welcome.